Democrats have taken the position that we will not vote for a budget that cuts millions of people out of health care. Because what's happening in this country is that the federal subsidies for the Affordable Care Act are going to run out by the end of the year. And starting next week, and actually already, folks are getting skyrocketing premium notices. And I want to give you an example just here in Florida. And keeping in mind, Florida has the most people on the ACA in the country. There's about 25 million people on this program, and 4.5 million are right here in Florida. But just to give you an example of the healthcare crisis that folks are facing, that for individuals, and these are people who make maybe $46,000 a year for their family, their monthly premium in 2025 was $140 a month. Without the ACA subsidies, it's going to be over $1,500 a month. For a family of four who paid nothing in 2025, will be paying over $2,300 a month. You start to multiply that out. That's over almost $24,000 for people to get their health care. So, and this is, I always say we're all in this together, because when doctors don't get paid, when hospitals don't get paid, when people get sick and they end up in the emergency room and it piles up, everybody is affected. And what your local insurance agent will tell you is that when the Affordable Care Act health premiums go up, everybody's premiums are going to go up. So we are facing here in this country a looming healthcare crisis of people just not being able to afford to go to a doctor. And without the affordable health care, keep in mind, now if you have a pre-existing condition, there's no guarantee that anyone's going to treat you. Families were able to have kids up to age 26 on their health care program. So this is a looming crisis. And unfortunately, at the same time, we have these fantastic federal workers who are taking the brunt of this. Because these folks who I'm going to introduce to you in a moment, they are working every single day. And they're not just, they're the TSA workers, right? But they're also food inspectors. They work at the VA, they work at Social Security. These are folks who are doing their jobs every day, and this will be the first week that they completely lose their paycheck. And keeping in mind, when they lose their paycheck, the other people in the community who they need to pay are not getting paid. So this is something we're in together, and really what we are here to say, Sheila and I, is that Democrats have been ready to sit down at the bargaining table to try to figure out how to get out of this mess. It's a big mess, and Sheila's going to tell you more about what's happening with that. Do you want to start now, or you want?
I'll go ahead.
Okay, go ahead, Sheila.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Well, thank you so much, Lois, for bringing us all together. And thank you also for being here. I'm Congresswoman Sheila Sherfilis McCormick, representing Florida's 20th District. And today we're here on a sad note, where we should be praising our TSA workers and thanking them for serving on the front line of protecting our airports. But everyone who's traveling, we're actually here. We have the food bank who's been here donating food. We just gave everybody lunch to try and help them just kind of like make it through. We know that half of them, well, they received half of a paycheck a few weeks ago, and this weekend will be the first week that they are missing a full paycheck, especially at the first of the month. We know how critical that is. People won't be able to pay their mortgages, their tuitions, any kind of bill, their insurance premiums. And it's a really sad time when we have to actually do this and have this shutdown just so we can protect the most vulnerable. What this is really about is making sure that the compound effects of what's hurting the community, things such as SNAP. Right now, if we don't get out this shutdown, SNAP is actually going to be impacted next week. And also when it comes to the ACA, my colleague Lois talked about the importance of the ACA. My district is number 7 on the list of the highest enrollees of the ACA. A family that actually has a $82,000 income, and they usually pay $5,000 for their health insurance, that's going to jump up to over $2,500 a month. If you do the math, there's no way you could pay that premium, pay your rent or your mortgage, eat, and survive in this economy. Everyone we talk to tells us the same thing. The prices are too damn high and they can't survive. So how can we support any other bills or any kind of budget that would make it even harder on our most vulnerable? In DC, we know that already the Senate has voted down the bill 11 times. They need to start negotiating with us so we can make sure that we're actually protecting our most vulnerable. What this is really about is Democrats standing up and saying enough is enough. We have to protect every one of our constituents, all of our workers. And when we sat down and had lunch with the different people from the TSA and the union workers, me and Lois were almost brought to tears to hear that people are having to choose between paying for gas or diapers, choosing between eating or if they're going to be able to get to work. This is not the America that we love and that we care about and we cherish. This is not the country that we all fought so hard to actually preserve. And so we would like for Republicans to come to the table. Let's find something reasonable to make sure that all Americans actually have an opportunity to survive and get health insurance. And so with that, I'll pass it over to my colleague, Lois Franco.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to bring up our workers, and just as a PS to add, the House has not been in session for weeks, and the Speaker has refused to bring us back. The President they have refused to negotiate with Democratic leaders. So look, we're here with a plea, really, and for our people. And look, it is middle class and our most and hardest working people who don't get paid a lot. They are the ones who are going to be hit first, but it's going to hit the entire community. So let me bring up our. Let me see, who's going to come up first? Okay.
I'll go ahead.
Okay, go ahead and just introduce yourself.
Okay.
Fix the light for you.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It's right in my face now.
Yeah. Okay. John, you just introduce yourself first.
Okay.
Yeah,
My name is John Hubert, John Hubert. Which camera do I look at? One in the middle? Yeah, I see all over here.
Don't worry about
In the
that.
middle. Let me just look here.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Okay, John.
All right. Well, I think it's important to understand that the federal workforce, we make modest wages. The problem is that when we miss a couple paychecks, it has a dramatic effect on our family, the people that we pay, the people we pay our bills to, our light bill, gas bill, mortgages, rent. We have a serious problem here. It's going to be the first week without us having a paycheck, okay? And I need the American people to understand that. We live in a community just like you. We're no different than anybody else. Some of us have federal jobs and some of us work for the state, but we're all together in this. And we know the American public is behind the federal workforce. But what I want to say is that support us, okay? We need this here to stop. We need the shutdown to stop. And we need people to come to the table and start negotiating, because it's getting to the point that your own constituents are going to be suffering. Everybody is worried about what's going to happen next. And federal employees are just stuck in the middle. And that's all I can say.
Okay, thank you. Did you want to? Okay, go ahead.
We got to adjust for Mickey.
Oh, Mickey.
Down here.
Okay, Mickey,
No.
you'll say your name again.
Well, you guys
all
in
good.
the back.
And your position, okay? Okay, Mickey.
No. Mickey Alston, Mickey Alston. Okay, you're welcome. So I'm Mickey Alston. I'm with Local 558, Women's Fair Practice Coordinator, as well as AFGE, PBI, Airport Vice President. Just to piggyback with my colleagues say, as far as the federal workers, we are your constituents. We are the people who come to work even though we are not getting paid. We are here to make sure that everyone stays safe and sound throughout their travel. We are here to make sure that people get their Social Security checks when needed, whether it's elderly, whether it's young, whether it's disability that is concerned. We are here. So we need everyone to come together to protect us. All federal workers, we're not just one political party, we're all political parties. You know, it doesn't matter whether you're independent, Republican, Democrat, we all vote, we all work, we all here. We're here to build America, and that's what we do. We need you all to do your part, to come to the table, to make an adjustment, but make an adjustment for the American people. Make an adjustment to help us out. Protect the people that are protecting you. That's what we're asking for.
Okay, thank you. Did you want to add anything or are you done? You good? Want to add something? It's up to you.
I got something.
Yeah, go ahead. Say your name again.
How you doing?
Yeah, we'll have a question. Yeah, right after him. Okay.
My name is Damian DeLeonardo, First Vice President, Local 558. I'm also the Legislative Coordinator for the local. It's hard right now. I know officers have been through this shutdown before, and some officers who are new. So it's going to be kind of difficult for the newer ones to understand, and we're asking that Congress come together and pass the legislation to make the shutdown go away so the officers can get back to getting paid, because some officers, it's hard for them to even be able to pay daycare. Some officers have child support that they still have to pay, and I know it's a lot of things that's going on that's going to be crucial to the workers getting to work, and we're doing our part to make it easier. And I would like to thank both Congresswomen for their help today with everything that they've done to make it easier to lift a little bit of the pressure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Why don't we take some questions before we wrap up? Who's got you have a question? Yeah.
You guys have talked about other people and how they're struggling to get by, daycare. How is this affecting your guys' day-to-day?
Okay.
Whoever's answering
This
the
is to your question. Go ahead. Wonder how it's affecting your day to day.
Well, obviously it's going to be affecting rental payments, FPL, the gas bills. These are things that everybody has to run into, but now we're not going to be receiving a check, so we're not going to have the money to be able to pay those things, and people are going to have to make some serious sacrifices.
Now, even though your pay is on pause, you guys mentioned you're still showing up every day. So what's keeping you going?
Well, I mean, for most of us, we understand the dedication to protecting the traveling skies, and we make sure to keep the traveling public safe, and we will continue to show up to work. We know that at the end of the day, the federal worker is always going to sacrifice himself for the American public, because that's what we came here for. That's what we were hired for, but it's going to be difficult as the days and weeks go by to maintain that. It's going to be very hard, and we just ask that we can receive some sort of help.
Is a big fear here that the airport will shut down if TSA workers don't come into work, or if it becomes too much for them?
That's not really a big concern right now. I think for the majority of TSA workers, they're going to be dedicated towards the mission. We just need to get paid,
Do you know if anyone's had to take on extra work because of this?
Yes.
Yes, several people have taken on second jobs like doing Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, things like that to maintain. But that's not going to last forever. That's for smaller bills. When it comes to your mortgage, when it comes to paying your rental payments,
And
those
the gas,
and
all
your
that.
gas bill is not going to be able to sustain that. So we need something to change immediately. We need Congress to go back to Washington, D.C. and make this happen.
Just to clarify, this Friday you guys would have been getting paid. Is that what you guys are saying?
Actually, it's going to be on Saturday, but yeah, we would have been getting paid, but now we're going to have a paycheck of zero. So, the officers are going to have a paycheck of zero.
So just, to add to your question about will the airport continue, one of the issues that we were told about today is the workers won't have money. Oh, okay, sorry. There was a question about whether the work at the airport will continue. In our discussion today, one of the things the workers told us is that many of the workers are not going to have money for gas, and they're not going to have a way to get to the airport. So that is going to, they want to work. They're committed to work, and it's not a political for them. They want to work, but it's going to be hard for some of them to actually get to work.
I also wanted to mention that Mickey here, she was telling us how she's been even buying gas cards to give to her colleagues so they can get back and forth to work. That's how serious the situation is, and that's how committed they are to making sure that their fellow colleagues come in. And me and Lois have also spoke about reaching out to different agencies to see how we can help mitigate some of their costs, reaching out to some of the cities to see if maybe they can get a waiver until they're paid again. So we're all pitching in, but I do want to commend you guys for standing up for each other and filling in that gap to make sure everybody's protected.
Yeah.
Now, I do know that, we're saying that Republicans need to come to the table,
Yeah.
but do you believe that Democrats bear any of the responsibility here? I mean, this is a stalemate between both sides.
Well, we've been coming to work. The Speaker of the House has not called a session in weeks. Part of the reason is that sort of a side note, he does not want to have a bill that's going to expose the Epstein files. I mean, so he has actually kept us out of work for that reason. The president is flying off to Asia on Friday, so I mean, we can't force these people to come to the table. We have taken a position, and I say we're all in this together. We are going to have a healthcare, an explosion of a crisis. It is going to hit Florida, one of the hardest in the country. We have no other leverage. We do not want to be forced to vote for a bill that does this to people. And so we are willing to sit at the table, figure this out, and we're really here almost with a plea. Our leaders have requested over and over to have these meetings. We'll be there.
Well, I also wanted to add that what we really want is a negotiation. This shouldn't be a Democrat or Republican issue. This is a people issue. And when we look at the cumulative effects of what's been happening, we had that big, ugly bill being passed, and that is going to hurt Medicaid. We're all aware of that. And now to try and cut, ACA benefits, we're leaving everybody in the cold. And at some point, push comes to shove, where we have to stand up and say, no more. Because what are we going to do when we have people coming to us who are devastated, family members who are dying? We already heard when we were passing that bill that so many of the hospitals were looking towards shutting down, and they were trying to figure out how they were going to compensate. Now, if you add this all together, all the premiums are going to end up going up. And that's why we had to take a stand. And the stand is not, let's shut down and not negotiate. The stand is, let's come to the table and have a conversation. That negotiation piece has not been happening, and even some of our voting days were actually cut short. They canceled those days. And the Republicans have the House, the Senate, and the presidency. So we're doing what we can to protect the American people the best way we know how, which is standing up, fighting for them, and trying to fill in the gaps until we actually have a breakthrough.
And
I'm going to say something. We have a president who's willing to talk to Putin. He's willing to talk to Hamas, but he's not willing to talk to us. That's ridiculous. And so we're just saying, hey, let's do what's been done historically during these shutdowns. Let's sit down at the table and figure out how to get out of this mess.
But with Trump going over there and speaking with them, trying to bring this to a ceasefire, I mean, they're two completely separate issues.
No, I'm saying we're happy he's done that. We're happy he's done that. That's not the point. The point is this. Why is he willing? He's willing. You can see he's got people every single day. He's got leaders from all over the world that he's talking to. Why is he not talking to Democratic leaders to try to solve a problem that the American public is experiencing? That's the point.
If we were to have negotiations, are there any types of cuts, funding that you guys would support getting rid of in order to push for health care, in order to push for social programs?
Go ahead.
I think that's something that we would like to even see what they're proposing. But without a proposal, we don't know where to go. We just know that these ACA cuts cannot happen. And so we would like to sit down, even have Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, sit down and talk to us, because that conversation in the House hasn't been going on. And so that's where we're saying we need to have the conversation. That is the democratic process. And so I have faith that, they're going to come and have the conversation. But instead of waiting until people are hurt, why not just do it now? Instead of waiting for another check to be missed, why not just have the conversation? Because we can't go on forever. So let's do it now before we go forward with this kind of starvation and these issues. Just look at the lines. When we were coming out, people who were picking up the food, you have hardworking people who are showing up who are picking up food from a farm share. Why? This is a dignity issue. Why should people lose their dignity just because you don't want to have a negotiation that you're going to end up having?
Yeah.
So that's what we're asking for.
Yeah, I guess to make clear, what we're talking about right now is what's called a continuation budget. That's just continuing what we have now until we can get a full budget resolved. So we're not Democrats are not making that many demands, other than one very, very big one, which is that let's figure out how to solve this healthcare crisis and move on.
And now I do have a statement from one of our representatives,
Sure.
Brian Mass, that he's going to read to you, and I hope
Yes.
you get a reaction
Yeah.
to
Okay.
it.
Good.
And
Thanks.
he said, did they vote to fund the government? No. Will they vote to pay TSA or any other federal workers? No. Will they vote to pay the military? No. Democrats need to stop using the very workers they are refusing to pay for political points. Enough is enough.
Okay. Well, first of all, that's his opinion. If they put a bill on the floor and brought us in to to vote to pay for federal workers, I can guarantee you I would vote for that, and so would the Democrats. And we would vote.
Do
But
that one over again.
It's like he purposely.
did he not believe me? Did Brian send that? No, listen. What I'm saying is, I can't speak for all the Democrats, but I do believe this. I'll speak for myself, which is, if they had a bill to pay the federal workers, I would be voting yes. But keep in mind that is not going to be good enough, because we have to fix this healthcare crisis.
To add to that, I work all the time with Brian on foreign affairs. I would love for them to bring on that bill. We would sign on to it, and we would even rally people to sign on to it. But what's lacking is the sit down. So once we have that sit down, we would vote on it. We would have that conversation. So we welcome it.
Oh, I sit down in an agreement. I sit down in an agreement. Yeah, because listen, if you look at the history of the Affordable Care Act, I mean, that was one of Donald Trump's platforms, was to get rid of it. The Republicans have been constantly trying to get rid of it. This is their way to get it done. And their budget director wrote Project 2025. I'm not going to get into it, but he doesn't like the unions, he doesn't like government, and he doesn't like the affordable health care. So we're at a situation where we can't just go by somebody's word without a written agreement, and that's where we are.
My next question is for Damien or Nikki or John, if you want to talk again. Do you guys worry about how you're going to be able to continue doing this, including your coworkers? You mentioned a lot of them if the shutdown continues.
Yes, actually, a lot of workers, not just one particular party, not one particular agency, all of us who have been furloughed, whether it's TSA, Social Security, Customs, federal prison, we are worried because, again, without having a paycheck, we can't provide for our families, we can't provide for ourselves. The last shutdown, unfortunately, we had an officer who had committed suicide due to the last shutdown because they could not provide for their families. This shutdown, and even last shutdown, we have officers that can't get Pampers and baby formula. And we also had a colleague of mine who just bought another colleague some Pampers because they had to decide whether or not to pay a bill or try to buy food and Pampers because they don't have enough to do both. So it's definitely already affecting us, and that was just with a partial paycheck. So now this is going to be where we're not receiving a full paycheck. I can just imagine it's going to get worse.
Now, with it getting worse, are you concerned that this shutdown is going to eventually impact airport operations and safety concerns as well around that?
Well, no, because we are sworn in to protect the people. So that's why we're here. We come to work every day, whether we're getting paid or not, because we like what we're doing. We sworn in to do a job, and that's what we're doing. So I don't have any concern as far as safety issue. I do have a concern as far as how are the workers going to get to work, because that's the issue. It's not that we don't want to come to work. It's how are we going to get to work if we don't have the gas money to put gas in our cars to get to the place we need to be to protect the American people.
Are you starting to see that already, people not being able to get to work, or is everybody still showing up for their shift?
I'm already starting to see that because with the partial check, as Ms. McCormick just mentioned earlier, we did have to give out some gas cards already because we do have people that live far. We have people that live locally, to have to come to wherever location that they work at. And unfortunately, since they had to make that decision, food, shelter, or gas, they suggested the food and shelter, and now they don't have the gas money. So that's what we're doing now, trying to just help them get to work. And so this next check that we're going to miss fully, that's the impact that we may see.
And I wanted to say this around the country, because this is not just happening here, and not just with the TSA workers, but workers who have jobs that would allow them to work from home have been told no. When they said we're not going to have the gas money, can we do our work from home? The federal government administrator, the White House has told them no. So there's really no cooperation on this point at all. Anybody else? Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you,
I think we did good. We did good.
Thank you, guys.
I'm always giving you a hug.
You did a great job.
So sorry, sweetheart.
Thank you so much.
We gotta keep fighting, man. We gotta keep fighting. That's all we're
Lois,
gonna
thank
do.
you. Thank you, Lois.
Thanks, Phil. Good job.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much. I know, me too. Can you guys give me your
No, it's going to take a while for me to tear it down.
Austin? Oh, like the city.
My light kept getting in something.
I'm AFG
Okay.
president.
And your title?
I'm also regional vice president.